Well, hello, welcome to Anime Amigos, the only anime YouTube personalities that are not having a go at Noralities this month.
What is Noralities?
Don't ask.
Okay.
I'm Calvin Atkinson, the Pokemon punk.
I'm Reese, the Gundam Guru.
I'm Ren, the JoJo Genius.
I'm Minute, the Vanguard Vagrant, and as Calvin said, welcome to the Anime Amigos. If all of our anime podcasts were entries in the Mario series, we'd be Sonic 06.
That's a good one, actually. I like that.
Yeah.
Right, well, we all tried to go and see the Demon Slayer movie. Only 3 of us managed it.
We didn't.
Hence the hoodie.
Me, I do.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh.
It's okay. I'll
No
just wait for
cinemas
the-
in Elliot's area were playing it, so to be fair on
I've heard it's really good though.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Highly recommend.
But despite what a reviewer from The Guardian who never saw the TV series says,
Yeah.
What?
he gave it 3 stars.
But he hadn't seen the
She.
TV. She hadn't seen the TV show.
And she reviewed the movie anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we like the only good anime or film reviewers out there at the minute?
No.
We have people like professionally.
No, that implies we're good.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
Yeah, and that shit proves it. At the very least, we see the shit we're reviewing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so fucking. And she wrote an article.
Yeah.
Isn't it like It's like that one guy who worked for for My Anime Network, who reviewed one of the Gundam films without realizing it was a sequel.
I shared articles for that a while back.
Oh,
Gundam
yes, I
Hathaway,
remember
right?
that
Yeah.
one, yes.
Well, halfway out, he reviewed the Gundam narrative.
So let...
And he was the same guy who said saw online one of the smartest anime he's seen.
Yep.
Oh, God.
No, that wasn't like 2012.
Yeah.
But even then, that was the same. But even then, that was where Death Note was out, Code Geass was out, Steins Gate came out like that year, I think.
Death Note came out 2012.
No, it came out
No,
2006.
2000,
Oh, sorry,
yeah, I
sorry.
was about to say it was even... I thought it was 2007, but yeah, you're right, it was 2006.
Yeah, but like Death Note was out. Death Note had been out for years. Code Geass had been out for years. I'm pretty sure Steins Gate came out that same year.
Yeah, it was 2011, I think.
Steins Gate was 2011, yes.
Yeah, and he says Sword Art Online's the smartest show out there. Oh wow, I cannot wait to see all the girls drool over Kirito. Seriously, he's one nip slip away from becoming high school DxD.
Look, there's parts of... I know we shut on Sword Art Online.
Yeah.
Would anyone disagree... Before we go into our proper topic, would anyone disagree with me on this one? There are parts of it that are actually quite good.
Yes, there are good.
Yeah,
parts.
like the OPs.
I will at the very least say I do like the Ironclad arc,
Yeah.
but that's and some of the Gun Gale arc, but that's about the extent that my praise goes.
The first half of season 1, before Kirito becomes an overpowered, samey character, like he's actually kind of interesting for the first part. Asuna's interesting, and her arc in Gun Gale Online is really good also.
I've actually heard a lot of people really praise Alicization.
Yeah.
You know, the 50 episode arc they did recently. My attitude on it is, I can see what they're on about, but I think they've missed something very crucial, and I could do a whole thing about that. And I did actually, I think we did, on one of the Shadow Colossus streams we did, I think I mentioned my argument for why I think Alicization fails on a fundamental level, because they didn't do the right reveal at the right time. But anyway, moving on. So we didn't all get to see Demon Slayer, and we've learned that The Guardian is now doing Hackney anime reviews, which normally comes from comic book resources.
Yep.
Hey-o!
Explain. Hackney?
A hack.
Oh, right. Okay, sorry. Wait, but what?
It's hacky reviewing. I probably should have said hacky rather.
No, but what's the company that you mentioned?
Comicbookresources.com.
CBR.
CBR.
Are they shit, are they?
Oh yes.
Very.
Oh, okay.
They did a thing saying how Jujutsu Kaisen borrows from a lot of anime. It's like teenage protagonists. And they had
That's shonen in
shit.
a nutshell.
Do you know what's worse? They showed a picture of Light Yagami for this.
Which I'm pretty sure was one of the few adult protagonists.
Yeah.
For most of the series. He's a teenager at the start, but
He's a teenager at the start, but he ends up
I think
becoming
he's
like 18 very early.
Like-
He ends up at the end he's like 23.
Literally, no shit. Jujutsu Kaisen borrows a load of stuff from other anime. Massively influential shonen anime is the reason that we have more shonen anime that's really good. Like Demon Slayer borrows a lot of shit. Fucking My Hero Academia borrows a lot of shit.
they also had articles
Everything
like what was the one that you pointed out that was really awful?
Oh, there were so many.
There's so many we pointed out. One that really upset me was Fruits Basket is full of tons of incest.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
It's not.
Literally.
It's the
Yeah, they all have the same last name, but that's because they're part of the same clan, not the same family.
Yes, they're not biologically related. They're all part of a clan. This is a classic. Oh god, I have to explain that Fruits Basket. How many times have I had to explain to people? Fruits Basket is based on classic Asian Asian traditions.
Yeah.
It's a whole. That's the whole point. They are stuck. The reason why most of their lives are fucked up is that they're stuck in tradition.
Also, to those people, you're criticizing Fruits Basket. How dare you? The last season's been amazing. Shut up.
More on that next month.
It sounds as if they're almost trying to find controversy in things that people enjoy because it will get them.
Yeah, no.
They're just trying to demonize anime, something that they've been doing for years.
Let's talk about though something that we've wanted to do something this for ages, and we thought now's the time to do it. It's a nice stopgap vlog for us to do. It's cool. It's basically about anime we think is really underrated. So before we go into all the examples that we picked. I'm going to go to each of you. How would you define something being underrated? I'll start with... go for change. Let's start with Ren on this one.
Oh my god, changing the dynamic.
I don't like it. I don't like it. Get back.
The peer pressure.
Okay, let's start with
No,
Reese.
it's okay. For me, it would be something that maybe not everyone sees the kind of the joy in or like appreciates in the same way. But if you find something about that show that you enjoy and that you identify with, then I would say it's underrated. You know, it's personally enjoyable to you. That makes sense?
I get, yeah. Reese, how about you?
Yeah, I'd go class it as a show that a lot of people skipped over just from seeing like the title or a promotional image, thinking, oh, this looks a certain way, I don't think I'll enjoy it, I'll skip it.
I would say that was more of a definition of prejudged, but I can see that it would fit into underrated. Elliot, how would you define something being underrated?
I would define it sort of a bit like how people would say unappreciated, like something that's kind of gone over people's head, or people just haven't really, or just isn't really as well known, as well as just something that people just don't really see quite as good, I guess.
See, my definition of something that's underrated is it could be considered one of the greats, and it really does what a lot of its contemporaries does very well, but it's not recognised for that, and not a lot of people know it. That's kind of my definition. And so I think that would be interesting to see.
I can say the same with what I suggest what mine is in the particular genre that's in though.
Like we often pick, when we do our biggest surprise on season roundup, I think we often pick underrated anime from each season.
Yeah.
Especially, I'd say Reese in particular, you tend to pick underrated anime for that category.
Just like a lot of anime that everyone else tends to skip.
I think quite a good example of an underrated anime that we all agree on is Hitori Bochi.
I think so.
Was that quite highly rated? I don't know.
It was all right at the time, but it's not. I think it's more. I don't think that's because it's had a lot of time to stew and become a great.
Yeah.
It's more. It's got caught up in the seasonal roundup, and there has been this question: is there too much anime coming out?
In that regard, I'd probably say Senryugo. That's one.
I didn't watch that one.
Well, we'll go into the ones that we each picked something which we thought was very underrated. So we'll stick to tradition on this one. Reese, which anime are you talking about?
I went for Arte, or Arte, depending on how you pronounce it, if you fancy or not.
Or Italian.
If you're right or not.
Elliot, you wanted to talk about...
I went with Cardfight Vanguard. I'm the Vanguard Vagrant, of course I'm going to talk about it.
I'm going to be interested in that conversation. Ren, you went for...
Elegant Yokai Apartment Life.
I went for... I'll be interested in that one because I'm not a huge fan of that one. So I'll explain my reasoning at the time. But
It's shit.
I haven't seen it, so I wouldn't know.
And
It wasn't anything on a lot of people's radars.
I went for... Unfortunately, that's not Nintendo announcing the Switch Pro.
It's just more promotion for
Mario Golf.
Yeah.
And I went for Beck Mongolian Chop Squad.
Never heard of that one.
I've heard you talk about it an awful lot.
No, I honestly, you're the only one out. No one's heard of this. I guarantee you.
I've heard of it, no watched it.
There's a very good reason for that, which I'll get to. But Reese, Arte, yours is the most. If we don't count like recent incarnations of Vanguard, yours is the most recent to come out. Now, there's another thing I find interesting. You three all picked something from the 2010s. At the risk of getting a boomer joke against me, or your old joke against me, I picked something from the 2000s. So I think that's kind of interesting there on that front.
Yeah, because it reminds you of your younger days, Cal.
I didn't.
Victorian London.
I mean, in my defence, my one technically started in the early 2000s.
Oh yeah, no.
It started in like 2011.
Okay.
The early 2010s, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But actually no, I didn't see that till I was in my 20s. No, I didn't see it till the 2010s. I didn't see Beck. Again, there's a very good reason because no one saw it. But we'll go to you, Reese. I remember at the time Arte was getting some recognition. Am I wrong on that one?
Yeah, because I was looking up scores at the time. A lot of people like my anime list and sites I like gave it like a 4 out of 10 from fans.
4?
A 4.
Really?
It's only recently it's gone up to like 6.
Right.
That is shocking because not to butt in on this one, but I actually really liked Arte. I thought it was
I
really
think
good.
we all really liked it.
I have a couple of issues, but I have issues with everything. So, Reese, why do you really like Arte, and why do you think it's become underrated?
Well, I thought it's a great slice of life period piece set during the 16th century, the Renaissance in Italy. And it does something quite unique because it does a female protagonist who actually experiences a male-dominated society, who's not immediately perfect at what she does and works towards it to improve herself. Not to say I'm better than the men, but I'm going to be better for myself.
I mean, I want to say she was definitely good at the beginning.
Yeah, but
it was more she was slowly improving as time went on.
yeah, like she wasn't nearly as good as her male counterparts in the field of art because she starts as an aristocrat, and of course back then you were just expected to get married, get pregnant, carry on the family lineage.
Yeah.
But she wanted to pursue her dream. And in a side note, how is it to name your daughter Arte but not allowed to study art?
Yeah, you literally named her after the Italian word for art.
Another thing that kind of made it most unorthodox is kind of the fact that she also came from a very wealthy family.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, a lot of the artists that you see are kind of street peddlers almost.
Yeah. For the ones in the series, and we follow her growth where she betters herself to not impress someone else, but to improve her own abilities.
I really wish they'd release the manga over here. I'd really like to keep going with it because I don't think it will get a second season. But
it may not do based on the views that got on the feedback.
but
But the manga itself has had 14 volumes and it's still going.
I know, yeah.
Really?
No, that's typically when you get an anime commissioned. You tend to get it around the time you get to 10, 15 volumes.
Yeah.
Because they know if it's very popular, they can immediately work on a second season.
Yeah.
We're even seeing that with this season, like Tokyo Revengers. That's coming out with 14 volumes under its belt. I mean, it's entering its final arc now, so it shouldn't be much longer.
With Moriarty the Patriot, which has had over 20 volumes at this point, and it's still ongoing.
Yeah, more on that next month. The thing that I really like about Arte, there's a couple of things I really like about Arte is it's very accurate to the period piece, especially the whole idea of them using masks for anonymity, like in the scene with the illegal dissections, which were illegal. Did I mention this when we did our seasonal roundup last year for it? That Michelangelo actually probably did attend dissections because they reckon the thing that God is on the back of in the top of the Sistine Chapel is a human brain. And that's his way of saying he thought the human brain was the greatest thing in creation.
Alright.
That's not been proven, but it does look like an outline of a brain, and it would mean he would have had to have attended a legal dissection. So dissections wouldn't have been that out of place for a person to attend, but the reason they were running away is not because a woman was there, was that it's highly illegal.
Yeah.
You're living in a time when the Catholic Church really is got a bee in their bonnet.
Yeah.
For lack of a better word. Did you actually remember at the time a lot of people said that she looks a lot like Violet Evergarden?
Yeah.
She doesn't look that much like her.
I think with long hair she did, but when she got it, not really.
The art style's so different. I don't think the comparison's there.
Yeah, also I really enjoyed was like all like the fashion choices on the show and how accurate they were to the times.
Yeah, the really excellent use of primary colours as well. There's so many things I think so many people now are forgetting that primary colours do not make a thing kiddish.
Yeah.
That's what I get annoyed with that when things like we're going backwards in like superhero costumes. They seem to want to make them darker and darker now. We're like, no, the things have primary colours for a reason. You don't need to do that. I think also the animation was a bit of a mixed bag, to be honest.
Yeah, but again, just being like an art show, it didn't need stellar animation
to
tell the story.
And they'll fix that for the Blu-ray release.
Yeah. And even then, I think the artwork and the paintings within the show were the highlight, which were really damn good.
Yeah. What do you think of the support cast in this show?
Yeah, I really like Leo.
Yeah, Leo's quite good. I'm not I'm wondering where they're going with the whole ship between him and Arte. Are they actually going to pull the trigger on that one, or are they going to just leave that completely ambiguous for the entire time?
Well, I've not read the manga, so I'm not sure, but...
I would probably say no, but at the same time, it is set in the 1600s, so you don't really know.
Yeah.
Yeah, God knows. Why do you think it was underrated, though? Why do you think it got those low scores and wasn't really appreciated in its time?
Well, it got quite a lot of backlash for people saying it's a woke feminist trash.
Oh, for fuck's
It's
sake.
not!
Yeah.
Fuck off!
And that's actually a quote someone said.
Wow.
What? I
Yeah.
assumed you were just generalising then.
Nope. So, because it has a strong female protagonist who betters herself and doesn't want to stay where she was, apparently it upsets people.
See, this is why...
Oh wow! So that apparently means Beauty and the Beast is in the same category then.
Yeah.
Because see, this is why people think we're centrist, because we
Yeah.
had to go at online mobs in our last episode, and this episode we're saying no anime should have strong female protagonists.
Well, they should.
They should, absolutely. Violet Evergarden nailed it. Arte nails it.
Yeah.
I think there was a bit of a backlash on that front because they built. It's kind of around those people who think that translators on Funimation in particular are actually altering the subs and dubs for their shows to insert political points.
Yeah.
Not accounting for the idea that maybe this was a little joke in the back that they did and then they just left it in.
Sorry,
Yeah.
what?
Well, there was a bunch of people who, there was a line in Prison School that Funimation did change, where they said you're not one of those Gamergate types.
Oh, right.
But
okay.
then they did change it for the Blu-ray release.
Yeah.
And there was also a joke about in Dragon Maid that was changed in the dub.
What was that?
I think she said I was tired of wearing these clothes for the patriarchy.
Oh, right.
It was
okay.
clearly a joke.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? And I found it quite funny, but a lot of people were pissed off.
It's probably just those people who. It's probably just the people who called Horimiya homophobic because of that one scene.
Well,
Yeah.
it's interesting with translating and interpreting, because you've got to find a rough equivalent, like, because they're probably making some kind of joke that wouldn't make sense if you told it in English, because it would be a unique Japanese thing. So they're probably trying to relate it to something that makes sense in English.
Yeah, because a great example of that is the original Pokemon series.
Oh, yeah.
Where Brock brings out the onigiri and he dubs it as a jelly-filled donut.
Oh,
Oh yeah, I still remember that.
That's the classic.
Yeah.
but yeah,
There's actually a good video by a YouTuber called Headache who talks about sensory in media and in anime in particular.
Yeah, there's a couple of those.
He did one on part of it does go on about Funimation.
Yeah, and they've done a very good job explaining, look, these are not Funimation deliberately inserting politics. A lot of people reckoned that, as well, that were reckoning that Lily was, in Zombieland Saga wasn't trans, and that they had changed that in the dialogue in the subs to do that, but but people went back and then looked and said, no, you're wrong, this was always the intention, this is not something that Crunchyroll has done.
It was always implied.
It was always, it was
In
always
season one.
implied,
Yeah.
and then it was confirmed later down the line,
Yeah.
and which is... which, given the last, which kind of makes the what's going on in the last episode kind of weird, but let's move on from that. I think there was a bit of that in there. Why Arte didn't. Also, before we move on to that though, did you ever see that Mars Girl did a thing about Funimation sending out tweets saying they supported this day for action against violence against Asian Americans? They did that. There's an event going on in Funimation, sort of tweeted out their support for it and said they were going to be giving some money towards it. And a lot of people then messaged saying, "Well, you're committing real hate crimes by mistranslating." And she did a whole thing about it. It's like, oh, these are some of the dumbest people on Twitter. This is why I think that idea of having an internet license should probably be a thing.
It's so reactionary. It's because I disagree with this one thing, or because this thing is an issue to me, I'm going to have a go at them for something minor, and that's not really a problem.
I would say check out Mars Girl's video just because you get, not only do you get a very good perspective on it, she gives a bunch of other videos that are also very good perspectives on it. I think that might have been a factor in why Arte didn't get the respect it deserved. It certainly came out it certainly had the time to build an audience, because it came out just as everyone was kind of going into lockdown.
It came out as spring 2020.
Yeah, so that was really when
one of the only good seasons of that year.
So lockdown was really just becoming a thing. So everyone was kind of looking for entertainment. They were stuck indoors, and it couldn't build an audience. So that was what staggered me.
And also nothing about Funimation that they got a lot of backlash for. They were saying they were standing with Asian voice actors and everything.
Oh yeah.
But a lot of people come out saying, well, why don't you have more Asian voice actors then?
Now, that's a legitimate criticism on them, but
Yeah, because if you look at their cast, it's mostly white people.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, but in their defence on that one, they are actually beginning to make massive changes about that.
I mean, you'd have to apply that to like every single language and like studio then.
Well,
because I mean,
yeah, there's very few going around for that one. Like you're not going to get a situation like The Great Pretender every time.
No.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think the issue for that is, I mean, they're not fundamentally speaking Japanese, are they? I do get like they need more representation of Asian people, but in the cast, but. You know, in any language dubcast, you're more likely to just have that.
Yeah, it was mainly because a lot.
Sorry.
I should point out this was mainly because Funimation rightfully turned their backs on Vic Mignogna.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Basically, that's where most of this criticism really comes from.
And I'm not making a point either side. I just want to make that clear. By the way.
Neither are we. I am not going anywhere near that minefield.
This is the discussion about Arte, people.
Yeah, we shall sit in our fence and we will like it.
I did not think this was going here.
Starmer now? Is that what's happening?
Let's just say I did not think the conversation was going down this route.
Why?
So,
but it's important to have these conversations.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. But I also think another reason why Arte didn't do so well was because, as Elliot mentioned, it was a very strong season, spring 2020. Yeah. I mean, what won our anime of the season last year for spring?
In spring, I think it was a sequel.
It was Kaguya-sama.
Yeah, Kaguya-sama. Yeah.
That was the thing. It was coming out at the same time as Kaguya-sama.
It was out at the same time as BNA.
BNA.
Tower of Gods.
Fruits Basket.
Yep, Sing Yesterday for Me.
No, that was the previous
My
season.
Next Life is a Villainess. No, it isn't.
No, it got Best Original.
It isn't there.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. Wow, I really did not pay attention.
Yeah, got Love's War Season 2 and Fruit Basket Season 2.
I agree. Thank God we didn't put Wildcard Sing Yesterday with me.
No.
Yeah. I mean, as I said, last year, if I could change, I would have picked fucking Next Life is a Villainess.
While we're on the subject on that one, Reese, you didn't pick Arte for any of your wild cards that you picked.
I'm honestly kind of surprised about that.
Yeah, because I thought it was good, but so many other shows dominated, in my opinion.
But again, we're not talking about these are the best shows ever. We're talking about these are underrated.
So
at the same time, you did pick Moriarty, Picture, and BNA, and that's very understandable.
And I would say if I'm stuck on...
Even if BNA is pretty much telling the exact same plot as Pro Man.
If I'm stuck indoors and I've got to watch one of these to pass the time, for whatever reason, I'm more going to stick to BNA or Moriarty the Patriot before I ever go to Arte. And that's just because I think those shows are slightly better written. It's nothing against Arte, but...
Yeah, because also another criticism of Arte that a lot of people had was it was quite a slow burn.
It is a bit of a...
Kind of is, yeah, you have to admit.
Mine has the same thing.
But weirdly my favourite arc in it was when she went to Venice to hang out with... When she went away from Leo.
Yeah, when she was tutoring the kids.
Tutoring the kid. That was my favourite arc.
Yeah, that was my favourite arc. That was really good.
Especially because it's also a reflection on Arte as well. Like, that's the life she could have led if she stayed an aristocrat.
And what she does brilliantly is sort of add a bit of extra inspiration to the next generation.
Exactly.
I find it interesting, though, that it didn't do as well as it did. I wish it did do much better.
Yeah,
I kind of... Not necessarily everyone saying, oh, this is amazing, but I wish it got a bit more recognition. It's a bit like... but that being said, I wouldn't have been as pissed off if it hadn't done... Because it didn't do well in the Crunchyroll Awards. I'm less pissed off about that than I am that Tonikawa only got one nomination, for example. Like, which one of the two are you more pissed off wasn't at the Crunchyroll Awards, Tonikawa or Arte?
Tonikawa.
Yeah, Tonikawa.
I'm glad because I thought I'd be the only one on that one, and you'd all say Arte.
I mean, I definitely understand your pain. I'm kind of pissed off that Apple Ranma did not get that much love there.
And that's another one from that year that we could say, same season actually as well, that we could say that sucked. It didn't do well.
Yeah, especially because it was my anime of the year.
Yeah, fair play to you, Elliot. I liked it when I saw it. The only reason I rated it low is I didn't like it as much as everything else.
Yeah,
that's fine.
But
I did not pick good wild cards that year.
Well, they got 2 this time, so you got a better chance.
Yay!
Final note on Arte, I'd say, is it's really good, but got underrated because of a bit of a backlash from, how should I put this kindly?
Basement dwellers.
I was going to say degenerates, but that works too.
Troglodytes.
But I think it was also because it was out the wrong anime. It was at the wrong time on the right streaming service.
Do you think if it came out like in winter or summer that year, that it would have gotten better reception?
No, summer everyone would have been paying attention to Rent a Girlfriend.
Yeah.
Winter it probably would have. I think if it came out in winter, it would have been very highly regarded. Although it would have had competition from Maizokin, but I think all the Funimation, the guys people on Funimation would have said, yeah, we like this.
Yeah.
Though at the same time, I would say we'll be fighting with ID Invaded. Because I still legitimately think that's the best thing that came out winter.
Yeah, no, that's true. I forget about that. Maybe Arte was always doomed if it kept coming out in 2020.
Probably. Who knows?
Let's talk then Elliot's choice, Cardfight Vanguard. Now,
I'm the only one who's actually seen this show.
no,
I've seen it.
You saw the remake. I don't think you saw the original.
I saw up to the stadium in the original.
No, actually, Elliot, in prep for this, I actually watched the first 6 episodes of the original series.
Oh wow, okay.
In prep, and actually, I'll be honest. In prep, I did try to watch a bit of it. I didn't watch Arte as much because it was very fresh in my mind. So I just watched a few clips of it back.
Which is why I helped pick it, because everyone would remember it more easily.
And in the case of Ren, I actually did rewatch a bit of Elegant Yokai. I actually watched.
Do you remember where you got up to last time?
No, I watched the whole thing last time.
Oh, you watched all of it, did you?
You know, I did
fair play.
I did finish Elegant Yokai. I never dropped it. I did finish Elegant Yokai.
Came out in 2017, right?
Yeah, 2017.
First year that we started.
Yeah. I really wasn't very good at watching anime back then. Not nearly as good as I am now.
So let's talk Vanguard. Why do you really like Vanguard, Elliot, and why do you think it's underrated?
Well, first of all, card game anime, or just gaming anime in general, is a big guilty pleasure of mine. I seriously love those games. Those anime pretty much ever since I first started watching Yu-Gi-Oh! And Vanguard was the only one since watching Yu-Gi-Oh! That I really properly enjoyed.
Why do you think it's underrated then?
It's not quite in Japan. It's actually quite popular in Japan.
Why is it underrated in the West then? Why is it underrated in America and Europe?
I think probably it just didn't get because it didn't get that much promotion here. Like when you really look at it, Yu-Gi-Oh! Things like Yu-Gi-Oh! Got a ton of promotion around here. Like they were shown on Nickelodeon and on Sky and things like that. Vanguard, we didn't get any of that.
I was going to say there is the Pharaoh in the room to think about.
Yeah.
Like it was. I think anything following Yu-Gi-Oh! Was going to have a really hard time.
Even Yu-Gi-Oh!
Can you a point I'd like to make about Vanguard? Correct me if I'm wrong on this one because I'm certain you'll find some examples. I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Lent into the ridiculousness a little better than Vanguard did. I think Vanguard, it comes off trying too hard when it tries to be ridiculous.
I will agree. Yu-Gi-Oh! At the very least, a lot of the time, definitely takes itself more seriously than it does ridiculously. Vanguard tries doing a bit 50-50, and it doesn't work quite as well.
Like, I'm trying to think what happens in... Like, I watched the first 6 episodes of Vanguard in prep for this. I'm thinking, what happens in the first 6 episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh? You have... you have the duel against Kaiba. You have the duel against Kaiba, where you have the great line, "Draw your last pathetic card."
The first duel against Pegasus on the TV,
which is really weird.
Where Yuki's grandpa got his soul taken and got ringued.
You've got the
In a few hours, the sun will rise.
The trip to Duelist Kingdom, including Weevil getting rid of the win button.
Yeah.
The 2-part duel against Weevil, and then Joey rises to the occasion beating Mai with the dumbest cheat ever.
Yeah, how the hell did that work? Seriously.
I'm convinced she must have Well, I mean, obviously she must have hypersensitive sense of smell.
In that case, all the smells would just make it.
Yeah,
all mixed
individually
together.
tell. She I don't know. She must.
Well, don't forget, it's like our bloodhound can tell different types of scents.
Yeah, but bloodhounds are specifically bred for that. It's
Well,
very.
mine could have been. You don't know.
That's true.
Are you saying that?
We don't know a backstory.
Are you saying that his mother humped a bloodhound?
No, it's just very selective breeding.
Wow.
In that case, mine would be looking like a reject from Beastars.
Wow, this went in a direction that I never think. But see, that's the point. We've had more of a I can't think it was that eventful. The first 6 episodes of Vanguard. I can't. Yet we got this much material to have a laugh and a joke about over the first 6 episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh! You don't quite get that about Vanguard, even though Vanguard on a lot of levels is probably slightly better written.
Yeah.
Yeah, something I do really like about Vanguard as opposed to Yu-Gi-Oh! Vanguard does get into the whole magic card things down the line, but there's actually a bunch of lore to that, like with Yu-Gi-Oh being an original, with Duel Monsters being a game that came from ancient Egypt. Vanguard, as it turns out, a lot of the unit creatures that comes from the Vanguard card game actually live on the planet Cray, which actually exists in Vanguard world.
Which is a bit weird. It's a bit weird. I kind of prefer the Yu-Gi-Oh explanation of this ancient thing that a creator just decided to do it because.
But still, at the very beginning of Vanguard, something I like, and something I actually really like about Overdress, it's more slice of life than the others, which I feel like a lot of people can kind of appreciate. Really.
Reese, how about for you on this one? Why do you? Because I'm pretty sure you like Yu-Gi-Oh more than Vanguard. Why would you say you like Yu-Gi-Oh more than Vanguard? Why do you think Vanguard got that underrated reputation?
Well, with Yu-Gi-Oh, it was more high spectacle because in the Duelist Kingdom they made everything up.
Yes.
So that was more entertaining to watch. Like, who can forget the iconic "I'll attack the moon"? in the Fisherman
or how they somehow make all the Horror the most broken card in the game.
Yeah.
Like, I'll tell you right now, if you get the Great Moth on, it's a very good card, but it's not an insta-win like it is in that episode.
Yeah, it's just a massive beat stick that has no protection.
Can I have a point on Vanguard?
Or let's not forget, I fuse my Graveyard Mammoth with this spell card to drain your monster's attack.
You can't fuse a monster with a spell card.
Technically, you can with the Fang Acridius.
You can fuse 2 monsters with polymerization.
So actually, that's more trap cards and spells.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the Fang of the Eye of Timaeus, the Fang of Critias, and the Chlorheramos. That's it. You didn't watch the Atlantis arc, did you?
Oh, is that with the Orichalcos?
That's the
Orichalcos.
I've read the wiki.
I'm one of the few people who actually likes that arc, I'll be honest.
I must
Ren, all you need to do is just watch the Abridged series.
Oh yeah, I'll explain it probably.
Yeah, do you know one of the things I really like about the arc? The music for the Orichalcos coming down. That is a great song. Plus, they actually made Weevil and Rex threatening again.
Yeah.
Somehow. But that's the thing. I can name tons of characters. I can name tons of moments. Vanguard never really sticks with me, I don't think.
I promise you, it does get a lot better.
So here's the thing about Vanguard. I think it's, unlike Yu-Gi-Oh! And to a lesser extent Duel Masters, it's a bit harder to get into because there's so much of it. And it's like, well, which one do I start with? Is it worth even starting the original, or do I just go straight to the reboot?
Okay, pretty much first of all, I'd like to know, of course we have this running joke, 30 years of JoJo, 40 years of Gundam. I'm kind of tempted to do one with 10 years of Vanguard. While that doesn't sound like a lot, the thing is, it's been going consistently throughout the last 10 years, to the point where it probably has more episodes than JoJo.
Well, fair.
Yeah, JoJo has been going for 30 years, but try Vanguard's 450 plus episodes.
It's weird because my favourite anime, I will never ever comment about how many years it's been going on because as a media franchise, it's just sucked ever since the first thing it came out. So you don't think Vanguard is as... do you think people have misinterpreted that Vanguard's hard to get into, or do you think they are somewhat justified in that opinion?
I wouldn't say it's difficult. I would kind of disagree saying that it's difficult to get into. It's kind of just something you need to turn your mind off for.
I'd imagine it's like, you know, if you wanted to watch like Naruto from the beginning, you just have to watch it concurrently, right? To understand it.
Yeah, pretty much.
You couldn't just start on Shippuden and be done with it.
Yeah.
Like, could you do that with another Vanguard series? Like, start on another one and then you'd be fine.
Maybe I definitely say yes with the reboot and maybe with Overdress.
I would say though with Yu-Gi-Oh, you could start on some of the other series and you'd be fine. Like, you can start on GX and 5Ds.
Yeah.
Or you could start on Zexal. I mean, I don't know why you would. But...
The only one you probably couldn't start off with right from the beginning is G, because that pretty much acts as a sequel to the original series.
Yeah, I agree. GX,
No, not G. GX, I'm talking about Vanguard.
Vanguard, yes.
Vanguard G.
So Vanguard G is a direct sequel to the original series.
Not a direct sequel. It takes place like a few years afterwards.
How do you think the reboot... Do you think the reboot helped anything, or do you think the reboot did more harm?
I think the reboot probably... I would say the reboot probably did more harm because when you look at the original series, that went on for 4 seasons, like 4 straight years, so that was over 200 episodes in. And each season, like, really takes his time to build things up, and you can definitely tell it needs that time to build up the arc and to build up the threats. The reboot kind of just takes the first and third season and puts them into a 50 episode long series.
So very similar to what's happened with Digimon recently.
Yeah. It's not bad, but it definitely just kind of feel like, yeah, I'd just rather be watching the original.
So if people were going to check it out, you'd say watch the original.
I'd say watch the original.
I'm surprised Crunchyroll's never dropped it. Like, that's genuinely surprised me. They've kept it as long as they have.
So what do you like about it in particular? What are the things that make it underrated for you?
Well, one of the first things I really like is that it actually does something that a lot of other card games don't do, which is that at the very beginning, the main character, Aichi Sendo, isn't amazing at the game. He actually is kind of bad. He starts off struggling. Like, he wins his first match, but that's just because the guy he was against was going easy on him.
Okay.
After that, he keeps playing and playing, and he just keeps struggling more and more, and he just keeps struggling while slowly learning more and more about the game. Like, through one match, he learns about how important grade 3s are. In another match, he tests them out. However, learns more about how strong people really can be. Through all that, he becomes better, and slowly through all that, he becomes better and better at the game to the point where he's taken out world champions and things like that.
People wonder why I like Joey the best.
that sounds to me similar to like an actual card player's experience.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
do learn different things.
As I said, they do get like some magic mumbo jumbo does come in. Like there's an ability called Psyqualia that they have, which is basically kind of a win card a bit.
Oh, that is such horseshit. But even then, it's still less broken than Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah. I mean, not really. It kind of
It
kind of just lets you say, hey, this card will help you win the game. That's about it.
Would you say Vanguard is more or less broken than Yu-Gi-Oh is in terms of the card game itself?
It's definitely less broken, especially over the years, because when you look at how the Vanguard plays, there's a lot more balance to it.
Yeah, I think I still have more fun playing Yu-Gi-Oh. I don't know why.
Yeah, because there is more fun to be had playing the mess.
It is that thing of it's kind of a case of Death Stranding is really good and gameplay functions very well, but you kind of want to play Devil May Cry instead.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a good analogy, or have I really fallen off there?
Fallen off?
I'd say similar.
Kind of. I don't know. It's just I can't.
I think you've done a very good case for Vanguard there. Actually,
it's difficult because I think we're comparing it against like well-loved franchises. Like, I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh is kind of the quintessential card game.
Yeah,
but we're talking about why it's underrated, and the fact of the matter is, it was always going to be underrated.
Yeah, at the same time that you could say that for pretty much all of the card games that came out. Wixos isn't well known because of Yu-Gi-Oh. Future Card Buddy Fight isn't as well known because of Yu-Gi-Oh. Things like that.
It doesn't change the fact it's probably accurate. Yu-Gi-Oh had the marketing backing it. I think other companies tried. Duel Masters really did a massive try. Cartoon Network and Toonami really pushed it.
But I want to very say, of all the other card game anime outside of Yu-Gi-Oh, Vanguard's definitely done the best because all the other shows kind of stopped. They just kind of stopped really. Like Future Card Buddy Fight down the line.
Just ended.
That just ended. It went and just kept going downhill more and more and more and more. I watched up to like the 4th season. If you're going to watch it, only watch the first 2. It goes really downhill after that. And with Wixos, not quite as bad. It's just more. That's not as bad. That's actually still kind of going as it did have an anime in like 2018. It's just not coming out as consistently. Vanguard, on the other hand, in my opinion, has been, at the very least, consistently good.
I'd agree. From what I'm hearing about it, it's very consistently good. And it has been propped up, but it's been propped up mostly by the Japanese market more than anything else. It's not really being propped up by a Western
market. If you want something funny, one of the Vanguard trailers actually had Mila Jovovich in it. I'm not kidding. You actually saw her playing it.
Mila
Jovovich.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I'm not kidding.
Why?
I don't know.
Because was she in Japan at the time and they were just like, oh, good for an advert?
Probably. Maybe they like the Resident Evil movies there.
Oh God, I hope not. They're not going to like the Monster Hunter movie when they see it.
They already did see it.
Yeah,
Did they not like it?
No one liked it.
There was a trailer for it when we went to see
Demon Slayer.
Yeah.
It looks awful.
We're gonna end up watching it, aren't we?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. We
Yeah.
have to.
Yeah, in that case, I say we don't just get together and watch it, probably just riff on it.
I remember the one thing I saw it when I saw it. See if you. I said Rathalos was drained of all its colour. So was Diabolos. Diabolos is drained of all its colour.
Never mind just Rathalos and Diablo. So what's the world?
Yeah.
Yeah, where's the colour? Why is it all in the desert? There's so many varied environments in Monster Hunter. Why is it all in the desert?
Because Michael Bay something boom boom.
You know it's Paul Anderson directing it, not Michael Bay.
Yeah, I know. But you can tell Michael Bay is definitely an inspiration for it.
Yes, yeah. You can really tell Paul W.S. Anderson borrows a lot from Bay. Shall we move on to yours, Ren?
Just quickly for conclusions. I really like Cardfight Vanguard's really good. I definitely suggest it. If you want to know what to watch, definitely the original series. Maybe G, even though the last season in that sucks. Probably avoid the reboot. Definitely watch Overdress.
I think that's a good explanation, and it probably got underrated because it didn't have the marketing smash that.
It just wasn't as marketed as Yu-Gi-Oh was.
And even then, just have a shonen as well.
It's hard to break through a market that's already like overloaded with Yu-Gi-Oh.
And a market that's already dominated by one franchise.
But even then, I definitely say watch it over the current Yu-Gi-Oh. Because
Hey.
Sevens is terrible. I'm not kidding. It's worse than Zexo in my opinion.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I haven't watched any since GX.
5Ds is pretty good.
5Ds is pretty good.
so I did see a couple
5Ds is pretty
episodes,
good. R3 is good. Vrains, honestly, I could have put on this. I think Vrains is really underrated.
Brains is alright.
I did not like it.
I know you weren't a fan of it.
No.
Believe me, it gets a lot better.
Yeah, but after 30 odd episodes and 3 recap episodes, you
Yeah.
just get burnt out.
Let's talk about some yokai apartments before Reese blows a gasket.
Yeah.
Go on, question me. Or
Why do you
want
like
to-
Elegant Yokai Apartments, and why do you think it got underrated?
So I think I'll talk about why I think it's underrated first. So the animation's not great.
Ha!
It's very slow paced.
I got a second. Understatement of the year.
It's
Oh god, we're not talking like Berserk 2016.
Not that bad.
Rest in peace, Kentaro Miura.
We'll discuss that in a minute.
there's no standout animation. It's all just kind of like, one level of so it's kind of okay. For me, a lot of the joy of it comes from the characters and understanding the relationships between them and the growth that comes from them.
I will say on the subject of the animation, it does like one of those. It does like one of those really underfunded anime from the 2000s.
I think they probably, so basically I read a little bit around it, and the author so it's based on a light novel series, and the author who wrote it died 3 years before the anime came out, I think. So it had
Has he completed the story?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
Well, why bother making the anime then?
Well, I think what they may have announced it a long time ago, and then like.
Oh right,
So-
contractual obligations. Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
That's my suspicion. So what they didn't want to sink a load of money into it, probably because the audience had dried up a little bit.
Also, it's a nice tribute to him, if nothing else.
Exactly. So the story centers around. I'm going to completely blank on all the characters' names. Yushi, something like that. Anyway, he's a high.
You watched this in
I know.
prep.
I rewatched like 6 episodes of it as well.
To be fair, they're not very memorable character names because to be fair, I'm going to flub on my character names in my one. To be honest,
I flub on every character name. I have to Google all of them.
If I had a copy of my book, because I wrote extensively on it, and I remember I put all the names down in there, I'd get my one. But
Are you saying you don't have a copy of your book everywhere you go? Calvin, how dare
There's
you?
one in here, surely. Oh, there's not.
No, there isn't.
It's the anime room, and we don't have the Nerd Consultant's Guide to Anime in here.
Let's move on.
It's the anime Bible.
Yeah. So
Top 10 anime betrayals.
So basically, it's about the story of a middle schooler whose parents die.
I think he's a high schooler.
He goes into high school.
Oh yeah, he goes into high school at the beginning.
The start of the series is him moving to high school, and right as he's about to move out of his uncle and his auntie's house, where he feels as though he's a burden to his family, he's due to move into this like brand new student halls for high school into this new city. It's going to be great. However, the student halls burns down, and he's just like, oh shit. So I have to find alternative accommodation. He finds by chance or by supernatural intervention like a really cheap place. It looks amazing. However, it's entirely occupied by yokai, which are like spirits. So,
They're Japanese spirits.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you guys probably know, but for anyone who doesn't.
Yes, I know it. I play Yokai Watch.
Yeah.
That's a game that hasn't been mentioned in years.
And there's not much of a story, so to speak. It's mostly just him going about his life, but it kind of explores a lot of aspects of grief, about relationships with people, how you interact, if people are hurting, how they may act out. And it's slow paced, and it has like some action supernatural. It has a lot of that supernatural elements in it. But it's more to do with how characters interact and how they can learn to grow and get along with one another. So for me, the joy of it is the understanding the relationships. I think.
Why do you think it was underrated though?
Because of the animation. I think it came out in 2017. There were other shows that we were watching around.
That were
time.
way better
Way
animated.
better.
I mean, I know you guys shit on World End, but that was coming out at the same time. And
Excuse me, I don't shit on World End. I agree,
I
it's
meant
an amazing anime.
I mean these two.
I
But
mean,
you have
also-
to admit it's a very well animated show. If not
Yeah,
I mean,
it's just everything else lets it down.
I mean, there's also things like Junie Tyson, Saga Tony the Evil.
They
things like that.
were a bit different seasons, but same deal. Yeah,
I'm just looking at the rating for it because as far as
it's got a higher rating than
has,
Arte.
it has a high rating, but it doesn't have a massive viewer base, and so I think for the people who weren't turned off by the animation and the pace probably really liked it.
My wondering on that one is if there were more people voting on it, like with Arte, would its score go down or would it go up? Because you know that the average score is affected by the number of people voting on something. I mean, Reese is a maths guy, so he would know that. So
I'm not that much of a maths guy.
I'm always the guy I ask you when the three of us review things, what's our average score? Because I have no idea how to fucking calculate it.
I think if there was a wider viewership, it probably would have gone down, and I think that's mainly due to pace and animation quality.
But that would suggest that this is more of a guilty pleasure rather than an underrated show.
Maybe. No, actually, that's a good point.
I mean,
no, that's a valid point.
I mean, it is a bit like mine. I do think Cardfight Vanguard is a bit more of a, for me, it's more of a guilty pleasure than anything else.
Yeah, I see that.
But I'm certain you can make a case for why it's underrated. I've got a case for why I don't think it's that good.
Go on.
Well, I think it's just not that memorable.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right.
When I was going back over it, the only episode I really proper liked was the one about the kid who had to be protected from the spirit of his mother who murdered him.
Yes, yeah.
And wow, I did not expect it to go this dark.
Yeah.
Like, this was a light show up until this point.
Yeah.
What the hell?
But I think, it's moments like that that kind of made me. That's probably one of the bits that made me think, okay, actually, I really want to watch the rest of it. I think if you watch like 2 or 3 episodes into it, you're not massively invested, which is fair. You're probably just watching it in routine until you get to a point where it's like, okay, this is actually something that I want to continue with. I think you're probably right in the sense that it is a bit more of a guilty pleasure and it's more memorable to me. But I think if it's a show, because it's very slice of lifey, if it's a show that you want to watch just, like absent-mindedly almost, you can just stick it on in the background. And it's like laid back camp in that sense. Most of it's just chill. Most of it's something that you can.
But I wouldn't really call layback camp like a guilty pleasure.
No. I'm just using as a comparison for the type of show that you might watch.
I would say you need a different sort of comparison because it's a supernatural slice of life show. So you really want to compare it to another supernatural life.
Something like. Would Gegege no Kitaro count?
Maybe. I'd also say...
what was the anime to go with the one eye and like?
Inspector.
Yeah, that's
I
it.
didn't watch that.
Okay, the show of that exists.
We keep forgetting that exists until it comes up in conversation. I'll tell you, like Natsume's Book of Friends, I know I'm the only one of us that's watched that one, but for everyone else viewing it, they'd probably be shouting that one.
Well, maybe that's because I can't think of like a good comparison to a similar show. Because
honestly, I'd say if you want a good comparison, Natsume's Book of Friends is a very good example. Yeah. I'd say that's the one. And I watched the first season of that in prep. It's very hard to watch beyond that in the UK because everything's unlicensed after that point.
Oh, really?
Have you tried finding legal methods of watching Natsume's Book of Friends in the UK? No. It's fucking unbearable. Like honestly, I was going to watch the whole thing for research for my book, and I was like, no, fuck that. I'm not going all the way into this if I can't watch most of it and I got to pirate most of this crap. No way. Yeah. And it's annoying because it's a good show. It's actually a very similar premise as well, but minus the whole community feel of it. It's more of a monster of the day. How do we help this yokai out? But it has that similar premise to it. And it's more like this encyclopedia that his grandmother left to him of all these yokai.
Yeah. Yeah, so no, maybe that's a valid point actually, that it is more of a personal enjoyment thing.
That it is something you felt deserved more attention. But why? And maybe you said I've heard you say on several occasions you felt deserved more attention. Can you explain your reasoning for that?
I think if you're new to anime, it's easy. It would be very easy. In fact, it did get lost in the swell of other shows. You know, we have such a massive release schedule of shows that come out at any given moment. I think if it came out probably 10 years earlier, it would have had a lot more attention, and I think would have seen probably more critique and a lot of people like saying, not recommending it as highly as something like Cowboy Bebop, which I still refuse to watch.
Why?
Because it's funny and people keep telling me to watch it, and I want to tell them no.
Okay, then in that case, I will watch JoJo.
He's got you! He's got you! Yes!
Okay, I'm willing to sacrifice that because I want you guys to actually watch the next season.
Bam, bam. We got him now. Bam, 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 bam.
But I would say it's more recommended as I would say it's a cult classic in that sense. It's a lot. Because evidenced by the rating of it. Not a huge watchership, but of the people who have watched it, rate it very highly.
But if I was going to recommend a cult classic to someone, I'd sooner recommend. I don't know why I'd recommend this, but it's the subject criteria you're giving me.
King's Game.
I was going to say Elfen Lied actually.
Yeah, but it's a different kind of cult classic. I don't know
if Elfen Lied is much of a cult classic. Though,
it's a bit of a.
It's pretty well known in the anime space.
I know, but I'm going by the definition of a cult film, of what a lot of people define a cult film as being something that's people really like and enjoy in spite of it not quite nailing it. And let's be honest, Elfen Lied doesn't really nail everything it tries to do.
So you might say something like, I don't know, Into Beyond?
Yeah, that kind of thing. That's a bit of a cult film in that definition. Yeah. I mean, we got a bit off topic there, but
yes, slightly.
But I would say that it does fit that definition. It doesn't quite work, but the people that do like it enjoy it in spite of that.
So if you're looking for like a good show that talks about growth, and if you can become invested in the characters without paying too much attention to the quality, to the production quality, then I'd say go for it.
But actually, being honest, out of all of the ones I had to go back and revisit for this,
you were less interested in that one.
This was the one that I had the hardest time getting into. It was just like, Christ Almighty! Everything this thing does. I'm going to borrow from Cad Icarus when he did his Death Stranding review. Everything this does, I can think of something that does it better.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, rewatching it, I was rewatching it in preparation for this, and again, I was like, I'm just going to stop the rewatch because I felt like I enjoyed it a lot.
You watched it with Becky.
Yeah.
What did she think of it?
She thought she did enjoy it. To be fair, but I think it was probably not. Yeah, I don't know, not massively.
But again, you guys are watching Fruits Basket as well.
Yes.
How is she enjoying that?
She's very much enjoying Fruits Basket.
Exactly.
And I'm also very much enjoying
exactly.
Fruits
And
Basket.
which one are you going to watch more of? Which one are you Fruits Basket or Elegant Yokai Apartments?
Yes, but Fruits Basket is not underrated.
Yeah, Fruits Basket.
But that's not the point. That's not the point. We agreed that this is we've agreed that by your definition this is underrated.
Yeah, but then.
However, the point we're going for it is. Maybe this is one of the big reasons it's underrated. Never mind, we're 2 years out from Fruits Basket being a thing. Why would you then say, I'm going to watch a supernatural slice of life show? Why would you watch this instead of Fruits Basket?
Well, maybe if you're more of a recent convert to anime, you wouldn't have had access to Fruits Basket as easily as you do now because of the reboot. I mean, 2017, I was new to seasonal anime, so I was kind of keeping up with stuff then. If I'd just started and this had been thrown at me, I probably would have watched Elegant Yokai Apartment and then Fruits Basket.
Well, actually, that's a good point. Comparing it with the 2001 version.
Yeah, I'd say it's recency effect is why we're all paying attention to. I mean, why I'm paying attention.
But Fruits Basket always had a cult following beforehand, and people always said, "I wish they could have actually animated some of the better aspects of it." Like honestly, the way the Fruits Basket 2001 ends, I think now it's impossible to go back to it.
I mean, even then, with Fruits Basket 2001, people were still very much praising it, mostly by saying, this is how you do a love triangle.
Yeah.
There's a YouTuber I watch called Crimson Rogue. He does like a bunch of reviews on bad books. I very suggest checking him out. He's really funny. And during one book he covered called Handbook for Mortals, when I was talking about love triangles, he would always go back to how well Fruits Basket did it, or he mentioned how Fruits Basket did it well, saying that like that's the only good love triangle out there, which I did kind of agree with.
I think it's pretty good as well.
Yeah.
But what about fucking 02 Ichigo? And
No.
That was never the case. That was never happening.
Sorry, I
Let's.
to annoy you.
Shall we go on to my one now?
Yes,
Before these two kill you, and I will not hold them back.
I mean, in all fairness, I'm gonna kill him anyway because of his Dark Souls playing.
You know, I can't blame you for that. I'm terrible.
See, seriously, I think he would, if he was in the room, he genuinely would have killed
I
him.
promise I'm not bad at Bloodborne.
If I was in the room with him, he will probably be doing better because I would be constantly telling him what to do.
Elliot would be playing. Elliot wouldn't let me play.
Okay, so I picked Beck Mongolian Chop Squad. Now, none of you have seen this.
Nope.
Wait, Beck, is that the music anime?
Yes.
Alright, I know the manga's really highly rated.
You got... Okay, I'll give you a few...
I've
why do I
only
like
heard
it and
that.
why it's underrated? I'll go into... I really like it because, in my opinion, it is the best music anime ever made.
Really? Higher than Zombieland Saga?
Yes.
Had someone like Keon?
Yes.
Higher than Carol Tuesday.
Thank you.
Yes.
Wow.
I would say it's better than all of those.
Well, there's only one thing to say to that. Fucking
Bullshit! Fucking bullshit! Fucking bullshit! Holy shit! Oh fuckers! Good one, Reese.
I still use that song in so many situations.
But I'll give you several good reasons why. It's about a band starting up and slowly getting better. It's like a slow formation of getting the prime members of the group, figuring out who's right in them, and writing those songs very much. All sound really great. Like whoever the songwriter was on this one is a genius. They knew.
Kind of sounds like Given a little bit.
It's very similar.
Except that's gay.
Let's get more Mongolian.
There's no hate to Given, by the way. That show is so fucking good.
I should say the title is based on the two names for the band. They're not actually Mongolian. I should say they are all from Japan.
Lies.
He
sits upon a throne of lies.
No, it's the record company sits on a throne of lies because they name the band when they get together and they all form. They name the band Beck after the guitarist's dog. Who looks like a weird Frankenstein thing? Honestly, it's cute, but it's amazing how freakish it looks.
So like the dog from Zombieland Saga?
Almost completely. Honestly, look up images of the dog. It's great.
I'll do that now, actually.
But they then in America they say you can't name the band that, so the company in America renames them when they get their album deal. Renames them Mongolian Chop Squad.
Why?
They figure that sells well.
Okay. Despite none of the characters being...
That's really cute.
Oh,
that is adorable. Wait, is it because... Mongolian Chop Squad?
Do you know, I don't think they ever actually explain it in the anime,
Yeah.
actually, to be fair.
because they occasionally use chopsticks.
I mean, I know about Mongolian invasions of Japan. I would hope it's not related to that. Anyway.
It's basically about a 40-year-old kid called Kiyuki. He's just started high school, doesn't really know what he wants to do with his life, kind of feels like he's in the background. He's a background character in his own story, until he sort of saves the dog for the guitarist, and he befriends the guitarist who gives him this CD by this fictional band called Dying Breed, who he absolutely falls in love with, especially the song Moon on the River, which is a theme that keeps playing throughout the show. It's one of the EDs at one point. It's the song that two of the characters sing after losing a bet and have to go skinny dipping. It makes sense in context, I swear. It's the song that Kiyuki covers and gets him a lot of attention in a documentary. There's a lot of big moments around that song, but he decides then he's going to take up the guitar, and he also learns to go swimming. He does swimming, which does play a big part in it, because it's like, okay, how is he a good singer? And it turns out, it's because he's learning breathing techniques by doing lots of swimming training.
Wait, so it's a sequel to Demon Slayer?
It's kind of hey.
Or is it a sequel to Free?
Or
Maybe
both?
it's both.
Freeman Slayer!
Get an Inception. Blah.
What's happening to the thing?
But
Freeman Slayer. Oh god, is that a sequel? Is that a sequel to fucking Half-Life? Are we gonna have to go to Freeman now?
No,
This is a series.
Actually, there was a fan game called Hunt Down the Freeman.
One of the
Don't play it. It's terrible.
Okay.
One of the things I find out is great is there's tons of references to American bands like Rage Against the Machine,
Cool.
Red Hot Chili Peppers, and Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, so it's a JoJo anime.
Everything's a JoJo reference.
Oh God, is this where listeners comes from?
But I will say right now though, this is one of the few shows, and I really don't say this very often. You really ought to watch this in the dub, not the sub.
Really?
And I'm saying the main reason is, well, all the songs have been written specifically for the show. There's only one cover in the entire show, which I won't give away when it is, because it's actually it's a big moment for the characters. But I will say it's a song, "I Got a Feeling" by the Beatles. Not that one.
Tonight's gonna
be a good night.
No, it's that one.
Tonight's gonna be a good night.
And copyright strike.
But well, like we didn't get it for Carol and Tuesday. But, the fact is though, it's that song by the Beatles that they did on their very last album, and it's annoying because that's the one time you should actually watch in the Japanese, because the English language dub, they didn't have the rights to that song, so they had to do new lyrics.
Oh, okay.
Which is also kind of annoying, but it's also the fact that he never listens to the Beatles at any. We never see him actually listen to the Beatles in the entire anime, so I don't know why that song is so special to him.
Okay.
No, all the songs are great though they've written. Like a Fujin is great. Spice Your Life is great.
No, it's a Spice Girls sequel.
No, it's.
Which would you say is better? Do you think the music in that or Carol and Tuesday is better?
I'd say if you took them as a whole, maybe Carol and Tuesday, but I still think Beck has slightly better ones. Mainly because I actually don't. No offense to the Japanese singers, they do fine. But all the songs, because the band is very influenced by American bands and American musicians, all the songs sung in English, and you can tell very quickly that all the singers are singing it in their second language. They don't sound very comfortable singing in English.
What genre of music are they?
Well, it depends which singer is on the, like with Beck, there's two singers in the band. There's Chiba, who's just the singer, and then Koyuki sings a couple of songs, and there's also the rhythm guitarist.
Okay.
But when Koyuki sings, they're more like Green Day and The Killers, so that sort of band. But when it's Chiba, they're more like Rage Against the Machine and Red Hot Chili Peppers.
That's interesting.
Chili Peppers are a very big influence because the bassist is very clearly modelled on Flea. But there's a lot of English in there because Ryusuke and his sister Maho, who they formed a relationship with Koyuki throughout the show, and it's one of the best parts. Another one of the best parts of it. Are both American Japanese, but there's also a bunch of points where they try to do sort of like American English. It's like, oh no, guys, I know you're trying, but this is not working. But it's one of the reasons why I say you really should watch this in dub. Greg Ayres, who does the voice of Koyuki, is actually a genuinely very good singer. I hadn't heard him sing up until that point. He's actually very good at it, and the actor they got to play Chiba does a very good job doing his life. So the music just sounds a bit better with those singers.
So why is it underrated?
Because no one could fucking see it.
Oh, right. Okay.
No joke. It's now you can very easily because it's just been relicensed and reissued on Blu-ray. Not too many copies of it out there, but there is. But fuck me, it was hard to find copies of this DVD back in the day. Like honestly, the first 4 were pretty easy. Get them on Amazon. It was less so now because everyone's bought them. But Volume 5, I couldn't find anything. Volume 6, I could barely find any listings for it, let alone actual sites saying it's out of stock. Fucking, I don't even remember how I ended up seeing the final 6 episodes.
How many episodes is it?
It's 26
I
episodes.
Because I think the manga's like really long. I think it's like a 40 volume.
26 episodes in total.
Okay.
But if you love music and good music, this is something you should really, really watch because it's very much, the band doesn't just sort of get big. They have to slowly work second jobs and slowly learn their craft. It's like it's like the best slice of life enjoys the mundanity of the everyday, but finds enjoyment. This enjoys the mundanity of slowly becoming a musician.
That's kind of what I really like about manga. I keep talking about, I know I'm sorry, but about the manga Bakuman, because they slowly build up their reputation. It's not until like volume 5, I think, that they actually get a serialized manga.
I honestly think Beck would get... If you go online, there's tons of video essays from people that have seen it and really appreciate it. But if you go to an anime con and say, Beck Mongolian Chop Squad, you're going to get a bunch of... But that's just because no one can fucking see it. No, it's... Put it on a streaming service, for fuck's sake, and actually advertise it. I don't know.
At the same time, you're not really going to get much of a reaction from people from just saying them an anime title anyway. I mean, I could just go there, say Darren and the Franks, and they're just like, okay.
Obviously, but I'm more meaning if you do a if you get into a conversation about anime you really like.
Yeah.
Just imagine though, someone walking in there and just shouting "One Punch Man" or something like that.
I just assume at that point. I assume at that point I'm about to get hurt.
Yeah.
Or just One Punch Man.
How dare you mention that the second season sucked?
Okay, let's
On that, actually, my friend recently watched. Well, she actually binged One Punch Man season 1 in 12 days, and I was just like, sorry, in 1 day rather. I was just like, do not.
Yeah.
The second
Like
season.
yeah. Actually, my brother watched One Punch Man. He's watching a couple anime. Actually, he's watching Sword Art Online, which I keep saying no. But he watched One Punch Man, saying I really enjoy it. I just think don't watch the second season. It's not worth it.
So just on that, like, are there any, like, what's the animation like for the time? Is it?
I'd say it's very
standard?
passable for the time, but most of the animation support was put into the OP and the music scenes.
Yeah.
And they do try to do quite a bit of variety of music. Like, they try to do a bit of the British invasion. They try to do a bit of a bit of Red Hot Chili Peppers, a bit of like Green Day type music. It's very varied, but it's mostly rock music. And I'm actually not sure what the band Dying Breed, which is kind of where all the focal points happen, is based on. But
Dying Fetus?
No, they're not like
Hate Breed.
No. But anyway,
Dying Wish.
They
is a prequel to Moriarty.
Hey.
Hate Fetus?
But let's move on. I will say one thing is that's a bit weird is it goes to a bit of a mafia plot towards the end, and it doesn't really fit the rest of the show.
I mean, you kind of gotta have arcs, I guess.
Maybe they were going for like, we think we've completed everything on the music side. Let's go for something more interesting, and it wasn't actually that much.
Organised crime.
I think they wanted a big hook
Yeah.
for that final performance, and they didn't really know how to do it, and they just kind of ran. But it led to one of my favourite lines when someone's trying to get through the bouncers and get on stage. Get off me, bitch! I'm in the band.
Love that.
Again, I do stress you really should watch it in the dub, not the sub. It just is a little bit awkward in the sub, and I think the dub fixes a lot of the issues.
Yeah, I mean, when you hear like Japanese, not to sound racist, but when you hear like people in a Japanese dub try to speak English, it's not exactly great. Seriously, thank God Megalobox decided to get an American voice actor for that one American guy.
But I think it's getting better now. Because more Japanese people are more bilingual now than it used to be. But it's also more, I don't get why they're put in a position where they're forced to do that. I'm willing to suspend my disbelief and say there's a Japanese person in Victorian England speaking Japanese. Why am I not suspending my disbelief at this point?
I do think they should do what
Great Pretenders
done. I think that's a really good precedent.
But that costs a lot of money, and you got to remember, anime studios are working on a bit of a budget.
Yeah.
I think it's when it goes off is when it's like the Great Passage, and it's this really awkward moment. Like, no joke, they have 5 minutes of these people who really are not comfortable doing this, and they have to really stutter their lines. I'm like, why did someone force them to do this?
No.
Like, these are good actors. This is not fair on them. Again,
They should have just done to go back with what I said, you should have just gone with the Great Pretender, like, spoke a little bit of English and then said, the episode will now be translated.
Yeah. You could do that back to Japanese.
See, for my money, I mean, we could come off as really racist for that one, but I don't mean that in any...
Yeah, we don't mean that in a bad way.
Yeah, just because Cal's that age.
I'm only 30, for fuck's sake!
Third in dog years.
I'm gonna kill them. This is the last you'll ever see of them. Next month it's their severed heads on the table.
Okay, it's gonna turn up. This shit's gonna turn into school days right here.
Oh shit, I forgot about that. Jeez. Actually, this was coming out around the same time as School Days as well.
Oh, right, yeah.
But to be fair, Beck, Crunchyroll's not about 5 years off from happening. Funimation's not the powerhouse it is now at that point. You got to admit, at that point, it didn't stand a chance on the DVD market alone, especially with Shonen really and Mech. That was the time. That was all around the last gasp of Mecha being the most dominant anime.
Yeah, it
before,
really was.
Before Isekai kind of took it over. I remember someone when they were commenting on Neurality's "Why I Hate Isekai" video, which no one should watch for the basis of that they don't want their brain cells destroyed.
What was his logic?
Her logic.
So her logic.
You don't
Okay.
want you don't want me to get into it. I'll tell you off camera.
Yeah, tell us off camera.
This is because it'll just turn to a rant video and I'm done with those.
For now.
But this is we don't do anime fights anymore.
But
Thankfully.
I remember a point that someone made in a retraction video on that one is if the Isekai boom didn't happen, we'd have looks like we have tons of Isekai reviewers. We'd have tons of mecha anime YouTube channels.
Yeah.
Like,
Reese would be one of them probably.
yeah, you would have. You would
definitely, yeah.
Yeah, actually, I think Reese would probably be happy with that.
Actually, here's a question on that front, Reese.
Yep.
Do you think the abundance of mecha anime did as much harm to the genre as the abundance of isekai anime we've had?
Oh, definitely, because we had a ton of like really crap ones. Like, who can forget, what was it? Knights of Magic. Or whatever.
Oh, for God's sake.
Best of summer.
How did we pick that?
That's our worst mistake ever.
I think at the same time we all picked like something different. I think you picked, was it Yokai Apartments? Is that
Probably.
one?
We should have
Yeah,
done.
I picked Token Rambu. He picked Maiden of the Mist. You went with
Welcome
Princess
to the
Principal?
ballroom.
Oh, I thought you
But
were.
in reality, I would have done Princess Principal in the back. But even then, I would have supported Maiden Abyss sooner.
Yeah.
Fuck me.
Yeah.
We would have made the wrong decision.
And this is why we watch as much anime as we can now.
Yes.
I still haven't watched Maiden of the Abyss.
Oh,
Honestly.
so
I know it's getting
good.
like second
Neither have
season.
I need to watch
Yeah,
it.
it's getting its own video game now.
Is it?
Yeah,
well, the creator,
fun fact. Apparently, Demon Slayer is getting a video game by Sega.
Cool.
Yeah.
please be a Souls-like. Please be a Souls-like.
I
It's
don't
made to be a
think
Souls-like.
it will be. Honestly, though, I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind it being a Dynasty Warriors game.
I don't think it suits a
Ultimate Ninja
Dynasty
Storm.
Warriors though. I think it way suits more being a Souls-like game.
Ultimate Ninja Storm, please. Demon Slayer. Yeah.
I mean, isn't Tanjiro already in Jump Force?
Yeah, but we don't talk about Jump Force.
I think he's in Jump Force
Probably.
now. Here's the thing though.
That's a nice segue. I mean, we could just. Sorry, no, you had a point. Sorry, go on.
I think the point I'm making is Beck could have been considered one of the greats. It could be considered classic. It is by the people that have seen it. But no one can see it because it's so hard to track down.
Yeah.
And I wish that Sentai... I think Sentai have the license right now. I wish they put it on High Dive.
It's
Or probably just like Funimation or something.
it sounds like.
There you run into issues then with the... Even though most of the... Actually, that being said, I don't think you do because most of the actors who are in it are now under contract with Funimation.
It sounds like three of our shows have an issue with accessibility. Elliot's being a long-running series, yours being like genuinely difficult to access, and mine probably being a barrier and it's not very appealing looking.
I forgot...
Yeah.
I think Rita's is the only one that doesn't
So
really
Reese's
allow
is the
it.
easiest one to find.
Yeah.
But
Well, mine's not easy to difficult to find. They're literally on Vanguard YouTube channel. You just have to get used to the
into
aspects.
for different reasons.
Can I
think,
just say
as
though,
well.
you can now get the complete season on Blu-ray. I do have a copy. I forgot to bring it in. I apologise.
We forgot to bring a lot of things in. Our dignity being one.
We
never
had that?
had that to begin with. I didn't.
So, and I think that's a good segue into us wishing our condolences to the family of Elliot. Will pronounce it better.
Kentaro Miura.
I was deeply saddened when I heard he had died.
I got into Berserk like very late, like only a couple of years ago, but I fell in love with it instantly. And the fact that we may never get an ending to was essentially is in my opinion the king of dark fantasy. But it may not happen.
But at the end of the day, I've heard so many. I kind of want to stop it really there because I've heard so many people make it about them.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we're not the ones really grieving. It's really his family, his friends, people that knew him closely.
Actually, the author of Hajime no Ippo, because Kentaro Miura started as an understudy to Georgie Morikawa, who writes Hajime no Ippo. He's apparently reclused himself and hidden himself away from his family, refusing meals and things. So it's deeply affected a lot of people.
Like a ton of manga artists have given their
But
condolences to
I'd
it.
say it's fair for him to sort of be in that position because he's
sorry.
genuinely a very close friend. What I'm more upset about is fans sort of commenting about how much it meant he meant to them, which is good, but at the same time, don't make it all about you. It's at the end of the day, he does have a family who are grieving.
Yeah.
And at the end, and also I'm getting sick of seeing loads of what happens to Berserk now pieces, and I'm kind of like, we could do this in a few months' time.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I don't know.
I think we should. So that's why this vlog did not change to what happens to Berserk now. We'll do that months and months down the line when we actually hear something from the production company.
Yeah.
Like, will Berserk get an ending, or will we just leave it there and say Miura could have had an ending, but we're not gonna have someone take it over.
Yeah.
Just on the subject of condolences, and I mentioned this on one of the streams. I don't think I did it last episode, but I did speak about it on the stream. Basically, I found out that the person who pretty much got me into watching anime passed away due to COVID, and his name was D. I met him, funnily enough, at Games Workshop when he used to play Warhammer, and he had a massive tattoo sleeve of Naruto characters, and the primary one being Deidara. And I was like, oh, that's like a really cool sleeve. I've seen Dragon Ball Z, and he was like, right, watch Naruto. And then I watched Naruto. I met him again a few years later, and he was like, I was like, I watched all of it. And he's like, it's fucking sick, isn't it? I was like, it is. It's great. Thank you. Now for the crippling anime addiction.
Did you finish the end of Naruto actually?
Not the anime. No, I finished the manga because I couldn't stomach the film that was in the final arc.
Yeah, I did watch it into the anime. It is still really good.
I watched the fight between. I watched all of the ending fights, but not the arc. I couldn't stomach it.
Yeah. I mean, that's nothing funny. Easily the funniest moment in the show was when Naruto did the reverse Harem no Jutsu.
Yes,
and it actually worked.
But to get it back
get
it back to a serious point, though, if nothing else, that kind of proves because he couldn't have been that old.
He was he was 54.
No, 54 in this case, but on the case of you,
D was in his 30s.
Exactly. So get your COVID vaccine first chance you get.
Miura didn't die of COVID.
No, I'm saying in terms of
sorry.
Ren's friend. All four of us have now had the vaccine.
Yep.
We're weeks off our second jab.
I've had mine.
We are perfectly.
Oh, no, sorry, we've all had our second.
Well, we've all had different ones. You've had Pfizer. We've had AstraZeneca.
Yeah.
But the point is, we're all fine. We are perfectly healthy, and we are now protected against COVID. We can now, for a large degree of time, with a large degree of protection. Get it? It helps get the world back. Not just help the world get back to normal, protects you and everyone around you from it. And don't believe. And if you got someone, and if you have a friend or family member who's refusing to take it, ask them why before you criticise them.
Yeah.
And also,
And if you can't,
but then criticise more.
then criticise them if they say they nothing could change their minds.
However, to anyone who says that vaccines cause autism and spreading all that, if you post that shit online, I will come to your house, punch you in the face, and then raid your fridge before leaving.
Entirely justifiably.
Get me a meatball marinara while you're there.
Oh no, they're vegan. Bastards.
Here's a thing though as well. On that one, shall we be open and honest? I had after the first jab, I had a bit of a headache.
Same.
I had a bit of
a headache.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. I was in bed all day with a massive headache, and I had to take about 4 paracetamols before I got better.
Well, you took it better than me. I actually felt really rough the next day. I actually threw up.
I've heard a lot of people.
How bad were you, Reece?
I was fine. I had a small migraine for about 6 hours when I was right as rain.
What about you? Got it on your second one, didn't you?
I felt like I had maybe a tiny hangover on my second one, but then again, I had a different jab to you.
But,
the second one wasn't nearly as bad.
I had a numb arm on my second one, but that was about it.
That was from wanking.
Damn it! Don't make those jokes.
Jokes? You mean facts?
It was my
Facts.
Can we move?
That's what happens when you show my picture of Morgana.
Can we end this joke once and for all?
Never.
On this, to be honest, that one, I actually lied on stream saying, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'd only just had all those paracetamol. I was in a rough way." And
I came in from work, I think, that day. And
oh my!
And you were collapsed on the sofa, and I was like, "Cal, are you okay?" I felt awful.
I was like
an hour before stream, and you perked up. To be fair, you did.
Because I filled myself with so many painkillers that I think I was half painkiller by that point. I actually was.
He just gave him water, so him dissolve.
We didn't have any in the house, so I had to call my mum and say, can you get someone to bring some round, because I'm in such an awful way and I've got to be on. And if I'm not on camera tonight, people are going to think the vaccine's terrible. But it's fine. As soon as I got the paracetamol in me, I was perfectly all right. And again, it does give you that protection. It's to be expected. You're getting a minor form of the virus. That's how vaccines work. There's a great line in a song that Mitch Bender did, which was, that's how vaccines work, you ignorant jerks. So, vaccinate your kids, bloody vaccinate your bloody kids, you bloody idiots.
Yeah.
It's a great song. I usually look that one up. So, we're back next month with a seasonal roundup again. I'm really looking forward to doing a seasonal roundup this season. It's been a great one.
It feels like so far this year has easily made up for 2020. It's been so good.
Yeah.
And the weird thing is, I went into. I'm hoping I can convince you guys that my favourite deserves the win, but I'm prepared for.
You know what? If your favourite is what I think it is, I'm not 100% with you with that.
I know where Cal's voting.
Yeah.
It's predetermined.
But there's been so many great shows in
There
spring.
really
There's so many. My God, Vivi Fluorescent Song, Don't Toy With Me, Nagatoro.
Tokyo Revengers, the
Megalobox Nomad.
Yes.
Fruits Basket Season 2, final season, sorry.
There are so many things to talk about with this one. Seriously, I mean, even Slime Diaries. I don't think anyone expected.
One I don't think anyone's talking about. Shadow's House.
I wasn't a huge fan of it.
I really like it personally.
Yeah, I really like Shadow's
I'm
House.
quite a fan of those Snow White Notes.
Oh, that was so good.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying that.
I'm so surprised.
Okay, convince me that one's really great, because I'm kind of on the fence on that one.
I mean, I guess it's kind of if you're a Shimmer-sen fan or not. I'm not really I wasn't too bothered about it when I first started, but then that first performance was just like, okay, I'm a fan.
Yeah.
His mum is weird.
She's funny though. I like
funny.
her.
She's funny, but very weird.
And of course, Nagatoro obviously became the most controversial anime of the season. Was there ever any doubt?
Never.
Yeah, but at the same time, he's also one of the most loved, strangely enough.
Yeah, and also because the people complaining about it are mostly morons.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you know what you're getting. The author's like formerly a hentai artist. Like you know what you're getting.
I think the best description I heard of it was, it's wholesomely horny.
I agree.
Just like our streams.
And on that note, we'll say goodbye to you guys, and we'll see you next month where we'll pick what our best anime of spring 2021 is. Goodbye.
Take care.
Goodbye, guys.
Arigatou gozaimasu.